I love making fancy garments, but in reality, I have been wearing this sweatshirt almost every single day this winter, and I thought that it might be useful for you as well. This is a beginner-friendly sewing project. The only thing that will take a bit more time is the zipper. You can make this as a loose sweatshirt or add a tunnel at the waist with a ribbon, so you can accentuate your figure and it will look more like a dress. You can find this pattern in our Etsy or online store. The links are down in the description. This pattern comes in sizes from XS to 2XL. For this project, I recommend medium to heavyweight fabrics. I will be using this furry fabric. You can also use jersey, fleece or woven fabrics. I also can imagine this sweatshirt in double terry fabric and to wear it after a beach or shower. You have plenty of options. You will need a matching thread, of course, and for the gathered waist option I will use this pre-made cord. You can also make a long strap from the fabric you have. You will also need a regular zipper that is 20 to 40 centimeters long. You can decide on the length yourself, depending how deep you want to open it and what's available in the store. It would be great if it doesn't open at the bottom, but I couldn't find a longer zipper that has this fixed metal detail, so I will show you how I dealt with this situation. For the zipper opening, I recommend to use interfacing, which is 2.5 centimeters wide and 8 centimeters shorter than your zipper. I will use a sewing machine and a serger for neatening the seams. If you don't have a serger, you can use sewing machine zigzag stitch instead. Start by cutting out all the details. By the way, that hemline facing is identical for both front and back hem, so you will need to cut 2 of them. Remember to mark the notches. You can use a marker or a soap or do small cuts in the seam allowance. In case you are also working with the furry fabric or even with some fleece fabrics that leave a lot of dust from cutting, it is better to wear a face mask. Otherwise you are inhaling this small hair in your lungs, and this will also help to avoid itchy nose. Press on the interfacing tape on the middle line of the front panel. This will stabilize the zipper opening. Lay front and back panels with the right sides facing. Pin the shoulder seams. Stitch 1 centimeter apart from the edge. Neaten both shoulder seams. If you are using a serger, then neaten both layers together, but if you are using a sewing machine zigzag stitch, then neaten each layer separately. Press both shoulder seams towards the back panel. Mark the middle line of the front panel. Cut around 7 centimeters deep so we can sew around the neck panel. Fold the neck panel lengthwise with the wrong sides facing. Lay this folded neck panel on the sweatshirt's right side. Match the neck panel's notches with the shoulder seams. Pin around. Stitch all 3 layers together 1 centimeter apart from the edge. Neaten this seam. Top stitch the seam to sweatshirt's front and back panels. This way the seam allowance will be fixed in place and also the neck panel will stand better. Make a stitch 5 mm apart from the previously made seam. It is not very visible on this furry fabric, but for regular fabrics you should have a nice looking stitch on the right side. I will do some brushing to lightly pull out the hair of this fabric from the seams. Press around the neck. If you have a zipper that opens at the bottom, you will need to stop the stitch around 1 cm above the opening. If you have a zipper with closed bottom, then make a stitch that ends 1 mm after that metal rivet. Lay your zipper on the middle line. Mark the spot where the stitch will end. Starting from the spot, draw a triangle upwards. The height of this triangle is around 7 mm and its peak goes to the middle line, like in this illustration. The width of this triangle is around 10 mm. If your zipper teeth are very wide, make this triangle even wider. Now cut along the middle line, but stop exactly at the triangle's peak. If you also have a furry fabric, I recommend to snip off the hair on the seam allowance, otherwise it is getting in the way and it is not needed there anyway. Open the zipper. Lay zipper's right side on sweatshirt's right side. Match the upper zipper's metal with the very upper edge of the neck panel. Fold the excessive zipper's tape over the neck panel. Carefully pin. Or you can even hand stitch if you have issues fixing the zipper's tape precisely in the place. I also would recommend to pin in horizontal direction. If you are pinning vertically, then the zipper tends to slip up and down, and also it is easier to take the pins out when you are already using a sewing machine. Stitch starting from the neck panel's edge down towards the triangle. The final stitch should be done exactly at the triangle's left corner. If your triangle also is 10 mm wide, then this current stitch should be 5 mm apart from the zipper's teeth. In other words, when the zipper will be finished, the zipper's teeth should be exactly at the middle of the triangle's peak. If it is more convenient for you, you can change the sewing machine's foot to the zipper foot. However, since this isn't an invisible zipper, you don't have to stitch extremely close to zipper's teeth, so it is actually doable with the regular sewing machine's foot as well. Cut the triangle open and make the cut against the end of the stitch, but do not cut in the stitch. Cut the triangle on the other side and it has to be symmetrical. Lay this triangle on the zipper's right side. Make a stitch that is perpendicular to the previously made stitch. And the stitch has to cross the very end of the previous stitch. Make sure you backstitch it properly. It has to be secured very well to the zipper. Now lay the other side of the zipper on the sweatshirt's right side. Carefully pin it and here as well match the upper metal rivet to the neck panel's edge and fold the excessive part of zipper's tape over the edge. Start stitching from that horizontal triangle seam up to the neck panel's edge. Close the zipper and make sure that everything looks nice. Lay the zipper against the wrong side of the sweatshirt. In case your seam allowance is visible on some parts, trim it narrower so it hides under the zipper tape. Make a stitch approximately 1 cm apart from the opening around the zipper. The goal is to fix the zipper tape in place and also give a decorative look from the right side. When it comes to zipper's bottom part, pick the distance depending from your zipper. Here you can see I have this thick metal that will definitely ruin my sewing machine's needle, so I will stitch above it. If you have the regular fabric, press over the zipper, but I will brush my fabric so the stitching would be less visible. Lay the sleeves right side on sweatshirt's right side. Match the notches and the sleeve's middle notch goes to the shoulder seam. Pin and stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. While we are here, let's pin on the other sleeve as well. After stitching, neaten the seams. Press the seams towards front and back panels. Lay the sweatshirt with right sides facing. Match the armhole seams first and pin the side seams. Stitch starting from the sleeve hem up to the armhole and then to the sweatshirt's hem. Repeat the step with the other side as well. Stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. Knit on both side seams. Press these seams towards the back panel. Lay both hem facings with the right sides together. Pin the side seams. Stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. The stitch should stop exactly at the notch. Press these seams open. Knit on the upper edge of the facing, or here it looks like the inner edge. If you are also using a serger, leave longer tail of threads. Use a tapestry needle or a needle with a big eye to hide this tail inside the serger's stitch. This will ensure that the stitch doesn't tear even after washing. Lay facing on sweatshirt's hem with right sides together. Pin around the hem. Stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. Understitch the facing. Stitch together the seam allowance to the facing by making a stitch 2 mm apart from the previously made seam. Since this facing has a very rounded shape at the side seams, most likely you won't be able to understitch that rounded corner zone, and that's alright. Make one stitch on one side and then another stitch on the other side. Start and end where you can comfortably access with your sewing machine. You can work either from the wrong or the right side of the sweatshirt. Usually I prefer to work from the right side because then I can better see the distance from the previously made stitch. However, on this fabric's right side I can see absolutely nothing, so I am working from the wrong side to be completely sure that I fix the seam allowance in place. Make small cuts in the seam allowance. Be careful not to cut in the stitch. Make more cuts where the hemline is more curved. I would say one cut on every 2 cm. This step helps to release the fabric, and when we will flip the facing, it will lay flat. Now flip the facing towards inside. We will need to press it in a way that when looking from inside you can see a tiny bit of the front and back panels. This way the facing will never be visible on the right side of the sweatshirt. Press it very carefully around so it lays completely flat. Also, I will add pins because the next step we will need to stitch the upper edge of the facing. In case your corner isn't laying flat, make a few more cuts in the seam allowance there. Just in case, I am carelessly pressing over my pins because they have glass heads. If you have pins with plastic heads, never press over them. They will melt in the fabric and it will be very difficult to get it out. Stitch along that neat end edge. Don't stitch on the very edge, but I would say some 5 mm apart. We are pretty close to the finish line. Take the sleeve hems and fold 1 cm from the edge. Press this edge down. And then measure 5 cm, fold again and pin. Stitch around this folded edge. Other option would be to simply knit on this edge and then stitch the hem allowance. But I figured out that sometimes I want to fold my sleeves up and then that knit end edge doesn't look very nice. However, functionality-wise there is no wrong or the right way, so feel free to hem the way you prefer. give some final press for the sleeves, and in my case I will also try to get rid of all that hair that has dropped and got stuck to the sweatshirt. Plus, I will also do some brushing, and I find this process very relaxing. If you're not adding that gathering cord on the waist, congratulations, you have finished. But here I will show on my other sweatshirt how I did it. Take your tunnel detail and fold 1 cm of the upper edge and press it. And then press 1 cm of the lower edge. Then fold 1 cm of the shortest edge and press it. Repeat it with the other edge as well. Make a stitch around 5 mm apart from the edge. Here I am trimming off the corners of the seam allowances to be sure they will not be in my way when I will stitch on the tunnel detail. If you haven't already, take the paper pattern and find the guidelines on the waist that indicate where the tunnel should be sewn on. Transfer the markings on the sweatshirt. I got super lucky because I have this plaid pattern with horizontal lines that helps me to mark my own horizontal lines for the tunnel. On the tunnel detail there are notches that should be matched with the sweatshirt's side seams. Start by matching them and then pin around the rest of the tunnel. And yes, I finished my pink sweatshirt and I started to wear it right away because it is so warm. This winter season we are trying to save on heating. So whoever says that Europe will freeze, nope, we're making super warm sweatshirts and doing just fine. Stitch around 1 mm apart from the folded edge. Do the step for the bottom edge as well. When you have stitched on the tunnel, take a safety pin and attach it to your cord or ribbon. Place it inside your tunnel and push it through all around. When you have done it, I recommend to tie knots at the endings of cords, so we can be sure they will not accidentally disappear inside the tunnel. After tying the knots, I usually like to slightly destroy the very endings so they start to look like a tassel. And this is it, we all have finished now. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more sewing and knitting tutorials. Bye!